Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into today's Falcons Mailbag video. We're going to answer as many subscriber mailbag questions as we can, which means if you're not a subscriber, then you need to go ahead and subscribe down below to be a part of next week's mailbag, because every single weekend we go ahead and ask for questions. You guys submit them, and then if you are a subscriber, we go ahead and throw your question up on the show and give it my full attention, and hopefully I answer it in the best way possible. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Let's jump into some mailbag questions here, as we'd see Quentin Hesse has our first question. I think about the Colts guard there for a second. Quentin Hesse says, one main problem that we had the past couple of years is our pass rush. To be competitive and a winning team, do you think we need to pick up a pass rusher? Yes, I think you're right here. Here's the deal. Listen, there are not a lot of good pass rushers left in free agency. I'll show you a list of them shortly, but why not sign a free agent defensive end? Remember, Atlanta has signed essentially all of their rookies. They went ahead and signed Richie Grant earlier this week, so Kyle Pitts is left over. Maybe he's signed by the time you watch this video, but they're going to get all their guys signed. And once they do, they'll still have about $7 million in free cap space going into the 2021 NFL season. Why not just make a run and sign one of these older, often injured pass rushers and just see what happens, right? Because worst case scenario, you give somebody $6 million a year and they do nothing, but then they're done at the end of the year and you don't re-sign them, right? Okay, bye. Best case scenario is give them $6 million a year, they give you 4.5 to 5 sacks, and you go, wow, we got a rotational pass rusher who we would not have had we not spent a little bit of money. I know that money is tight technically, but you still have about $6 to $7 million in free agent cap space. Go sign somebody. Now, the kicker is, look at the list of defensive ends that are available. These are the best 4 that I could find. Not a lot of good ones, right? I mean, we talked about Melvin Ingram. Ingram is old. Ingram is injured. Ingram is, not productive recently, but still, let's say he gives you 10 games and 4.5 sacks at $6 million a year, or even less. Not a bad season for a guy to come in and help out this Falcon pass rush. Again, you got Justin Houston, Ziggy Ansah. I mean, there aren't a lot of good pass rushers. That's why Atlanta's not lining up to sign these guys, but I agree. Pass rushing has been an issue for Atlanta the past couple of years. You need it to go ahead and be productive, and it's going to help out a flurry of other players if you have a good pass rush. The secondary gets better, the linebackers get better, and the offense, and you can get stops, get the ball back to the offense overall, can be a lot better as well. So I think they should. I see no real downside to giving Melvin Ingram a couple $1 million in order to come in. I guess the question is Ingram willing to play in Atlanta, and is he willing to take, I guess less than what he wants right now in order to go ahead and sign with a team? I would be for it, despite the fact that it is a risky move because you can't guarantee these guys will be productive or healthy. What do you guys think? Should the Falcons sign another defensive end? If you think so, type Y down below for yes. If you think no, type N down below for no. I jump into another mailbag question here from Mafi, I think, who says, what round should I draft Calvin Ridley in fantasy? And Frank Darby, who would be his pro comparison? I think Ridley's going to be a first or a second round wide receiver. If you're in kind of the 10, 11, 12th round pick or 12th pick of your draft, and it's a snake draft, Ridley, sitting there in round 1 or 2, I mean, the guy was a stud last year. These fantasy numbers, if you throw over on your screen, I mean, look at this. Talk about over 1,000 yards. Talking about 90 catches. Talking about this guy can be an absolute beast in terms of your fantasy football team. It's only going to get better without Julio Jones this year. So I would take him in rounds 1 or 2. I wouldn't take him with the 3rd overall draft pick or the 6th overall draft pick. But you're sitting there with pick 12, pick 15, pick 16, and he's still available. I would jump all over Calvin Ridley. Darby's pro comparison. I did some research on this and I was watching some film. The best pro comparison I can say is like a Christian Kirk, who now currently out of Texas A&M is he's an Arizona Cardinal. He's kind of this decently sized. He's 6 foot. He's not small, but he's not like 6'4", but he has good speed and good route running. So I'd say his best pro comparison right now is probably going to go ahead and be Christian Kirk. But again, I mean, we don't know what Frank Darby is going to be, and that's the big point about Frank Darby. A 6th round draft pick, there's no guarantee he's going to be good or bad. You got to wait and see, but I'll give you my comparison of Christian Kirk. All right, first off, thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently, as we are approaching 2,600 subscribers. We're up to 2,546 subscribers, 2,546, which is great, and we're growing at a very fast rate right now, so I appreciate all of our new watchers here on the channel. If you're brand new, go down below and hit that red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed as we keep you guys up to date on the Atlanta Falcons' latest news and rumor videos, as well as mailbag videos just like this one. So if you're new, go down below and subscribe. If you already have subscribed, I appreciate each and every one of you. All right, jump into some more mailbag questions here from I Don't Care Who You Voted For, which is a pretty good name. He says, why doesn't Howard draw the same attention as a Gilmore? TB12 has struggled with Howard when he was with Miami, and I honestly think he is better. Obviously, talking about Xavien Howard, the Dolphins cornerback. We talked a lot about cornerbacks over the past couple of days because both Howard and Gilmore want to be traded, and honestly, I agree. I'd take Howard over Gilmore. Now, I wouldn't take him strictly because Brady has struggled with Howard more than Stephon Gilmore, even though Brady hasn't really played Stephon Gilmore because Gilmore's still a Patriot. But I would say Howard is better overall from a size perspective, and he's better overall from an age perspective. Howard's in the prime of his career. Gilmore is still really good, but he's getting in the twilight years of that cornerback career, and cornerbacks tend to fall off a cliff. We hear the fall off a cliff, analogy to Tom Brady a lot, not true, but cornerbacks definitely do go ahead and take a nosedive. Howard just does work at the cornerback spot. He tackles, he plays press man coverage, and he gets a ton of interceptions as well. This guy is an absolute monster, an absolute beast, and I would be all for the Falcons going ahead and adding him. Now, the pro for Gilmore is Gilmore's probably a little bit cheaper, right? In the grand scheme of things, you want to trade for both of them. You got to re-sign both of them. You could probably get Gilmore for a little bit cheaper, not much, a couple $1,000,000 here and there. You have to free up cap space in order to go ahead and do this. Like a Grady Jarrett extension would go ahead and help that out. But either one of these guys would instantly make this cornerback depth chart way better. And I think it's still pretty good. I like A.J. Terrell. I think Sheffield has some bright spots. We'll see if they keep Oliver as a cornerback or they move him over to safety. That's yet to be seen. But imagine Terrell and Howard, or Terrell and Gilmore. I mean, that instantly becomes a top 10 cornerback duo in the National Football League, maybe even a top 5. I mean, Howard and Gilmore are just that good, and I think that A.J. Terrell can be, equally as good. I mean, he had a really good rookie year for being a rookie, emphasis, cornerback in the National Football League. So I don't care either way, honestly. I just wish that Atlanta would at least pick up the phone and make a phone call, but if you want to know which one's better, Xavien Howard out of Baylor is, in my opinion, a lot better. Okay, Falcon fans, the training camp hats that your Atlanta Falcons will be wearing up at Flowery Branch come training camp time are out and on sale right now. You can rep that Falcons training camp gear by going to chatsports.com/Falcons Camp. The link will be down below me in the description box. You got a bunch of different options, right? You got the fitted ones, you got the snapback hats, you got the trucker hats as well. I mean, you see them all up on your screen right now, and there are even more in terms of going to the link, chatsports.com/Falcons Camp. Go ahead and pick up and rep your Atlanta Falcons and wear the exact same gear they will be wearing at Flowery Branch come training camp time. All right, a couple more mailbag questions here. We'll jump into David's question. He says, how confident can we be if McCarron has to take over? And I think Hurst production is going to go up with Pitts drawing so much attention. Obviously, if Matt's throwing the ball. Yeah, so first off, in terms of A.J. McCarron, I think he's a pretty good backup. I mean, I was disappointed in Atlanta for not drafting a quarterback this year just to give, potentially some growth to the future because Matt Ryan's not going to be here forever. But McCarron has been a successful-ish quarterback during a very limited sample size as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Remember, he's a Cincinnati Bengal for a little bit. 17 total games. Not a lot of touchdowns, not a lot of yards, but very few interceptions. So 3 interceptions, is the total right now on an A.J. McCarron. So I feel pretty confident. I mean, he's going to be the backup. I mean, this whole Felipe Franks discussion is relevant. McCarron's going to go and be the backup. And I agree. I think Hurst can have a pretty darn good year. And we forget that Hurst had a bunch of targets last year, 88, and still had 56 catches and 571 yards. If he reduplicated what he did last year this year, and you have Kyle Pitts pop off, that would be a very, very good tight end combination. I think Atlanta has a chance to be one of the better tight end teams in the National Football League, and obviously Pitts has a long and big part in that. But Hurst has had a good offseason, I've heard. He looks great. He's slim. He's gotten stronger. I think he's going to have a big year in his probably final year in the ATL. You guys think the Falcons have a top 5 tight end duo in the National Football League right now? Like, I think that they do, especially if Hurst is healthy and Kyle Pitts turns out to be great. Not a lot of good tight end duos even really in the National Football League. I think Atlanta has one of the top 5 in the National Football League. If you agree, give me a Y down below for yes. If you disagree, give me a 1 down below for yes. If you agree, a 2 down below for no if you do not agree. Okay, one more question here. Matthew Decker says, are we making the playoffs? That's tough. Okay, here's the deal. I think Atlanta can compete for a postseason run. I think they can be a wild card team. I don't think that they could win the division. But here's what I really want. And the whole playoff thing is irrelevant right now. Just look competitive out there. Just look competent out there. It's more important than be competitive. Look competent out there. Atlanta's big problem the past couple of years are incredibly slow starts and incredibly incompetent starts. I mean, the games that they lost last year early on, the Cowboy game, the Bear game, you just go, goodness gracious, just show me competent football out there, and the wins will then follow. Because the roster is not anything special, but it's not anything trash. You can win football games with Matt Ryan in this offense. You can win football games with Grady Jarrett in this defense, and A.J. Terrell mixed in there as well. Look competent, and I think this team can be a wild card team. I'm not going to sit here and say they're they're going to win the NFC South. The South's too good. Brady's going to win the NFC South. We all understand that. But this team can get to 9 wins. This team can be a 7 or a 6 or a 5 seed in the NFC, and you get to a wild card that's a lot better than where they have been over the past couple of seasons. So I will say, yes, they can. Will they? That's up to them in terms of how competent they look under the new head coach in Arthur Smith. Ultimate for today here on our Atlanta Falcons mailbag video. Again, use the hashtag Falcons in the comments. Be a part of our next mailbag video, which will come up probably a week from today. And so there you go. Ultimate for today. Make sure you guys are subscribed to be able to be a part of those mailbag questions, though, because it's important. Subscribers only are the ones who get their mailbag questions answered. I'm Thomas Mott. We're going to sign off for this week in mailbag for the rest of your day.